So next up, we have a fantastic speaker. It's an incredible pleasure to welcome Bill Barhydt, who will speak about Abra, unlocking the future of crypto investing. I'm not sure if all of you know, but he's really one of the pioneers. I mean, he was working on the first generation of cryptocurrencies back at Netscape 25 years ago on SSL. So I think this is sort of as far back as you can go in terms of cryptocurrencies, and it's such an honor to have him on stage in just a minute. Another fun fact I read about Bill when I was looking to put this together, on his LinkedIn profile, he says, in February 2012, I gave the first ever TED Talk on Bitcoin. It was trading at $2, and 90% of the TED audience didn't know what it was. Those things have changed. So please give a warm welcome from an audience, offer him an audience where 100% knows what Bitcoin is. Please give a warm welcome to Bill, CEO and co-founder of Abra.
Thank you. All right, good afternoon. So today I want to give you some insights into a new type of crypto investing platform that we've been working on for a couple of years at Abra, which we actually revealed last week and has been taken off like wildfire. I wasn't even sure if I was going to make it for a couple of days. Our numbers have been exploding, and it's wreaked a little bit of havoc, but I'm thrilled that I was able to get here. So let me give you some background on why we're doing this and what's happening in the crypto markets. Most of you are going to know this. I'll get into how things work behind the scenes. We don't talk about it very much, but I'll give you a rare look of what's actually going on in our smart contract platform. This is the market cap last week. I think it's come down a little bit more. Of the top cryptocurrencies that are traded, I think it's like the top 30 or so. Obviously, it fluctuates now, but it's about 300 to 350 billion, I think, right now, which is still an astounding number given where we were 4 years ago. I think Olga mentioned I gave a talk at the famous TED conference a few years ago, and I think that the market cap of cryptocurrencies of one, I think, was about 30 million at the time, with an M. So at the same time, there's a whole bunch of tokens. There's only 12 here on the slide, but I think there's upwards of 40 that make up, actually I think it's 30 that make up the market cap I showed you on the prior slide, all of whom have reasonable daily volumes, again, relative to crypto, not FX, not stocks, but the crypto markets aren't just a party of one now. And we get a lot of requests at Abra since we launched our Bitcoin and Ether product to be able to add this type of investing in a very simple kind of retail user-friendly way. Now, in our research, we've literally interviewed hundreds of users, right? We have a usability and user experience team at Abra that is world-class. And what they did is they would go out and they would do what I call the mother test. And I've done this with my mom, and I'm not picking on my mom. There's lots of people who I say fall into the non-trading, non-crypto initiated user perspective. And we put apps like this in front of them, which I've used. I mean, they're good. Nothing wrong with them if you're initiated. But I put apps like this in front of them. I said, okay, go buy something. And like 95% of the time, they just fail. They have no idea what to do. They have no idea where to get started. They have no idea what all that mumbo jumbo means, and they basically give up. So then our question obviously became, who is ultimately and finally going to solve the user experience issues in the crypto space, make this easy to use? Who is finally going to integrate all of these cryptos in a way where I kind of liken it like TravelX at the airport, right? You don't think about what's happening behind the scenes when you walk up to TravelX. If you're coming back to Switzerland from the US, you've got some extra dollars in your pocket, you put the dollars in the counter, they hand you your francs, you walk away, you have no idea what happened behind the scenes. Why does it have to be that hard in crypto? Right? So who's finally going to get all this stuff out of the picture? If I'm not using my bank account, where, okay, we have an expectation that the government wants to know who we are, why do I have to go through all this fancy ID process in the first place if I'm actually interested in holding my own crypto on my own device? So how do we get it out of the picture where it's not relevant? right? And at the same time, give people who want control over their own money their own keys. So we did all of this. It's literally taken 2 years to figure it out, but I think we've started to crack the nut on how to do it. And the first release was last week, and I'm going to show it to you now. So the Abra app is basically the first application that allows you to hold 70 currencies on a phone in a non-custodial model. 20 crypto, 50 fiat. It allows you to deposit Bitcoin and convert that Bitcoin between all other 69 currencies, including fiat. So in a down market, if you want to move into francs or dollars or euros, you effectively get a free hedge. And we have processed millions of dollars of transactions and people doing that with zero KYC required because you're actually holding the dollars and euros in a synthetic fiat model, which I'll explain to you in a few minutes. It's like Tether, but without the tether. All right? So this is what the portfolio view inside the application looks like. And you scroll up and down, it probably looks more like a stock portfolio than anything you've seen before. You can click on each one and you can initiate an exchange. The exchange button gives you one-click exchange between all 70 assets. Choose your source, choose your sync, type in the amount, you're done. There's no spot trading, there's no limits, stop orders, any of the trading mumbo-jumbo that retail investors don't understand. You can add money via Bitcoin wallet globally. Last week, we've signed up users in over 50 countries. In the US, you can add money via your bank account and American Express card. We've now signed up exchange partners in over 35 countries to extend that, the ability to do cash in and cash out via the app in all of those countries, which will deploy in the second half of this year, including the Eurozone, which will be one of the first markets we'll support so that you can do SEPA wires in and out of the app. So now if I want to add more currencies to the app, I simply click on the little wallet in the upper right corner. I can see a list of both cryptocurrencies as well as fiat currencies that I can add to the app. And I simply add those currencies to the portfolio view. If I want to add money, I click the Add Money button. And you see here all the mechanisms by which you can add money. In Asia, we're actually testing what we call an Abra teller network, which many of you have probably heard about, where you can go to a retail point of sale and use cash to actually buy the digital currency in your app. And it's been a huge success. We've processed literally millions of dollars in transactions from consumers doing this with small amounts of money, I should add. The average transaction size is very, very small, but this gives people the ability to invest in crypto, do money transfer, which you can also do inside the app at almost no cost for the first time. So the response there has been fantastic. And as I said, in Europe, we've had a lot of people, especially in the past week, where we almost doubled our user base in the last week alone, but people depositing Bitcoin directly into the app and then using it to invest in these other digital currencies as well. So now if I want to do an exchange, I click on the exchange button. I choose which cryptocurrency I'm exchanging from, and it can be all 70, fiat or crypto, which digital currency I'm exchanging to. I type in the amount, and that's it, I'm done. Right? Now, it's because this seems so simple that I'm claiming that it's a massive breakthrough. Right? We have looked at every way of buying, selling, holding, managing crypto in the market today, and I am quite convinced that this is by far the easiest way to do it at large scale. So let me give you, by the way, this is the list of the 20. 13 are live now. The other 7, actually we've accelerated this. The other 7 are going to go live early next week. We finished the last bit of testing, so you'll have all 20 in the app. There's actually another 10 more that we're testing, and hopefully those will be added soon. So literally within hours of launching this, where's my currency? Where's this currency? So we actually run a market-making system that tests for the liquidity of these currencies to make sure that the consumer has a good experience inside the app. And so it's not a favorite choice in terms of what gets added. As soon as something meets our liquidity requirements, we test it and we add it. And so there's about 30 that make the cut. We took the top 20 by padding the requirements a little bit. And hopefully we'll be able to add more even soon. Right? And of course, the 50 fiat currencies, which represent the largest currencies in terms of GDP in the world today. All right, So let me give you a little bit of insight as to what's going on behind the scenes here. So Abra has developed, I believe, the only consumer-facing smart contract application using Bitcoin blockchain tech in the world that's live today. It uses a combination of Bitcoin and Litecoin multi-sig scripts to give consumers effectively investment exposure to certain asset classes. We started with fiat and with crypto, but we can actually support any asset class in the world now, and we hope to do so over time. In Europe, many of you are familiar with the concept of CFDs. Most Americans aren't familiar with that concept since most CFD types are illegal in the US. What Abra does is it effectively creates a synthetic CFD where the consumer is taking a short position and Abra is taking the long position, and then the market-making system that I mentioned before hedges away Abra's counterparty risk in real time. This allows Abra to add new cryptocurrencies or any asset classes, as a matter of fact, to the system very, very quickly. Once we decide that a currency can be supported, we can literally add it in hours to the application. Okay? And then the settlement is actually in the app using the multi-sig scripts in either Litecoin or Bitcoin. And if you know anything about how that works, the P2SH scripting in both are more or less binary compatible. And that's important because when the mining fees for Bitcoin hit $40 in December, and we were testing the app inside of Abra, employees that were doing $5 exchanges between currencies, Abra was incurring $40 mining fees, which is not a very good business model. And so obviously doing that on the Litecoin network is a better solution for small dollar exchanges. But again, the consumer doesn't have to know that, right? They just see the exposure they're getting, and they know that they get their winnings or lose the losses when appropriate. So these smart contracts, again, simulate this idea of investment exposure and have instant settlement. And most importantly, you're managing your own keys on the phone. This is a huge breakthrough because now you don't have a model where you have one-stop shopping for hacking, right? If Abra has 100 million users, you actually have to hack 100 million phones in order to gain exposure to all the funds, right? So there's no third-party intermediary required for any kind of settlement. The multi-sig contracts guarantee that. Today, the contracts are 2 of 2, which has some downside to Abra, not so much to the consumer. We're going to fix that by going to a 2 of 3 model this summer. The third key will likely be based here in Switzerland, and we're working on the details for that now. It'll probably be a foundation that we're actually working on, which is really good news for the consumer, because if Abra goes away, the consumer is totally protected. And if the consumer doesn't start the app for a year and Abra's in the money, Abra's totally protected. So that's where we're going with that. So the bottom line is I think we've created a new model for investing that really represents a leap forward, not only for the people in this room who want simple retail access, or your friends that you talk to about how great crypto is, but also in developing markets, right? We have people in Africa now who've put $10 of Bitcoin in our app and have gotten exposure to other currencies. Or we have people in Southeast Asia that have gone to the retail point of sale with Philippine pesos and put 100 pesos or $100 worth of pesos in the app and have gotten exposure to altcoins for the first time, right, that they read about in a Facebook group. So think about where the implications of this for a second. If I can give you investment exposure to any asset class, what about somebody in Africa who wants to buy Apple stock? Or somebody in Indonesia who wants to buy access to Alibaba stock, right? All of that is now possible in a single smartphone application that basically creates a global financial inclusion platform for investing. At the same time, the other features that I didn't show you in the app that are already live today allow you to send money from between any 2 Abra users in the world, regardless of which wallets you choose as the source or the sink. Meaning you can literally send dollars in your app which land in Bitcoin in somebody else's app, or send Zcash from one app that lands in Ripple in somebody else's app, in any combination, and with no money send fees at all. So now you start to see a model emerge where global financial inclusion becomes a reality, because the same smartphone application can run on 7 billion smartphones, and regardless of whether the consumer is banked or unbanked, wants to deposit in Bitcoin or in cash, the same application will work for everyone. So just some background on where we're at as a company today. We've now raised about 40 million. which I don't think we've announced before. Our newest investor is Foxconn, the company that makes the iPhone. We haven't announced too many details as to why yet, but we're working on some really cool stuff together, which I hope to talk about soon, along with our other investors, American Express, Abra Ventures, which is Fidelity's investment fund. All have been really active in helping Abra build out the company, and so no ICO plans, for those of you who keep asking. Yeah, so that's Abra. Please tell your friends, and I'll be here for the rest of the day and happy to answer any questions. And I think Vinny and I are going to do a chat later, so hopefully we'll be able to answer some more questions about where this is all going then as well. Thanks a lot for your time.